every now and then you run across somebody who has a story to tell. And too often in our communities, a lot of stories that should be told remain untold. For example, I was in a conversation earlier about Beaconsfield Park, and there's an interesting history behind that park, but a lot of people don't know about it, and too often there are things in our community that warrant discussion and revelation that go kind of unnoticed and unrevealed. So that's part of the mission of a call to action, is to try to impart information to the community that's going to be educational and beneficial. And today, I'm happy to report to you that we've got a young man and a situation and a scenario and a department and an activity that tell a story. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Haversham. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate the opportunity to bring you information all the time. But I'm particularly appreciative of the opportunity to interview this young man today in the person of Mr. Keith Moffett. And I read through his bio, there's so much about him until, I got so interested in the little biography, and I said, well, I ought to read it, and maybe I vicariously could think that that's me. But after thinking about that for a minute, I decided that it wouldn't work. So I want to welcome this young man, and for a lot of reasons, I think it ought to be emphasized. I'm not going to say it's because he's black. I'm not going to say it's because he's young. I'm not going to say because he's holding an administrative position. I'm not going to. Well, you tell us about yourself.
Well, I just want to say first, thank you for having me here and all that you do. I learned a long time ago that no matter what the question is, education is the answer. And I thank you for the way you always try to educate the community first, because we need a lot of education. There's a lot of information out there that unfortunately sometimes we're just too lazy to go get it. So anybody that's willing to bring us the information, the community is extremely grateful for. So just thank you and all that you do. A little bit about me. Born and raised here in Macon. I'm pretty sure you've been knowing me all my life. So, I grew up on the east side of town, right there on Millerfield Road in Sunnydale, finished at Northeast. Went in the military for a little while, in the Navy on submarines, and, Macon has always been home. So I came back home, and I've been blessed. I've been blessed with a lot of opportunities to work here in the community.
I'm not going to let you scan or just skip through what you did in the Navy now. I do know about that.
Yeah, I'm submarine,
and I think
the nuclear power program, and then finished up electronic technician. So, they say join the Navy, see the world, but they get to tell you the world's 75% water. So I saw a lot of water, and but it was a good experience. I joined for educational purposes only, and got my degree at Macon State, and then my master's at Wesleyan, and I was blessed last year. Me and my wife, we finished our PhDs at Mercer in educational leadership. But the journey's been great, and in the last 7 years, I've had the pleasure of working for the city, which is now the consolidated city and county. People ask all the time, what do we call a city or a county? We're the city of Macon-Bibb, and so I've been fortunate. I was working in City Hall on the mayor's staff for a number of years, and now I'm the department head for the E911. And we all know what E911 is. It's our emergency phone call when something goes wrong. And being there, I've really learned a lot that people call 911 for everything, which is one of the things that we need to educate people that you don't need to call 911, for everything. If your dog is barking, you don't need to call 911. But we will do everything we can to assist you. But it's been a lot of fun. It is a very stressful job. We have about 60 employees there, and they listen to everything from the dog barking calls to, unfortunately, suicides, some of the violence we have in the community, and making sure that they dispatch the right resources, everything from medical to sheriff to fire. People call, wanting to find other city departments, and we try to help people as much as we can. So we appreciate this opportunity to kind of educate people more on what we do at the 911 Center.
I understand that it involves more than just emergency response. There are some preventative activities. So just kind of walk us through, including, of course, we see the big motorhome with emergency management on it, but just kind of walk us through the emergency situation and why there is a need and what the community can do and what the resources are in case of an emergency that does not involve the barking of a dog.
well, I agree. Well, we are just one link in a chain of a lot of departments working together. You have a major event. We have our EMA department, Emergency Management Department, that kind of will be control central. We all watch on TV, you see the big control room and everything. We have that in the bunker next to City Hall where, like the tornado of '08 or the flood of '94, or right now we have so many terrorism threats and things like that, school shootings. If a big incident happens, that's where all the key players will get together to have a coordinated response. But there's always start with that first call, to get the ball rolling. And 911 is always that first call, whether it's a small emergency at the house or a big emergency at a school or a mall or something like that. So our people are prepared to take the information. We try to gather as much information when someone calls 911 so we can dispatch the appropriate resources and notify the right people that need to be notified. One of the things here in Macon-Bibb County is that we have a Class 1 fire department, and with that comes a lot of benefits. Our fire department is always first responders, whether it's a medical emergency or a fire. Especially medical emergencies, our fire department takes the call.
You need to talk about that for a minute, because oftentimes I see it even, like wrecks on the interstate, and in other emergencies, just talk about, that the fire department is trained and what their function is in that kind of an emergency.
The fire department is fully trained to handle all emergencies, everything from search and rescue to health issues. That's why I said they are the first responders. You call 911 and say you're having a heart attack, we will immediately transfer you to the ambulatory services, or if you're if it's that much emergency you really can't talk, we will dispatch the call ourselves, but the ambulatory service, they try to get as much information so they can get you the appropriate medical attention. And again, that's another thing on educating. Some people call the ambulance for anything, and that ties up a lot of resources because we only have a certain number of ambulances available. And so we try to make sure that we are sending the appropriate people to your emergency. Now, we want to aid you in any way possible. If you're feeling ill, you need a ride to the emergency room, we encourage you to find a family member or something like that. But if you are really at your end and it is a life or death situation, we will get the appropriate resources to you. But again, that's where that fire department comes in, because they're kind of, another resource backup. They're trained in CPR.
Wow.
They're trained in like everything from search and rescue to fire prevention, fire training. As you say, a wreck happens on the interstate, they are triage responders. They can get there and get the body stabilized, get the situation stabilized, and then turn it over to law enforcement for like traffic management and things like that. So it's a lot of moving pieces in an emergency, and we try to coordinate it as best we can. We just invested over $8 million in an 800 megahertz system to make sure that we all communicate on the same channel. But as a matter of fact, but all agencies are communicating. We have several law enforcement agencies in this community. If you think about it, each of the higher education, now Middle Georgia, Central Georgia Tech, the Bibb County school system, all have their own independent, Mercer, all have their own independent law enforcement agencies that we do try to work with, because at the end of the day, the sheriff and the Bibb County Sheriff Department is one of the lead agencies if an emergency happens. We all see on the news sometimes when you have tragedy that hit other communities, and you do see the coordinated response, and you see that the top law enforcement agency here in Macon-Bibb County is the Sheriff's Office. So we have to be able to communicate. Everybody has to be speaking the same language, and we can't do that unless we're using the same equipment. So we made the investment in this 800 megahertz system that hopefully we also can expand it out into the region. You know, that's the new catchphrase, especially in economic development, regionalism.
Right.
So why not have some public safety regional efforts going on? Because we all in this together. You know, what happens in Monroe County affects Bibb County, affects Jones County, Peach County.
Right.
So if we can all get that synergy going, and we have mutual aid agreements, like the fire department, mutual aid agreement, what happens on the Air Force Base. You know, the Air Force Base is a huge economic impact here in this community. If something major happens there, we want to be able to say that we helped with any type of situation that they have. So that the E91 is just a link in a mighty big chain, and we try to keep things coordinated and keep it moving.
Wow, that is so interesting. And we're going to proceed more. We're going to talk a little bit more about the fire department and about other functions of the E911 service. But we're going to take a break. This is a call to action.
Call to action.
Alex Havisham interviewing Keith Moffett. We'll be right back.
Make a difference in your life. Join us for the biggest winter health and fitness expo, August 23rd. We're looking for the healthiest person in the Southeast. So challenge yourself and your friends and family. Run, jump, climb, play, and show off your strength and fitness. All ages are welcome. Come to the biggest winter health and fitness expo at the Riverside Epicenter next to Six Flags. Take part in fitness and nutrition workshops. Show off your fitness. Meet with certified trainers and nutritionists. Network to make money. And most of all, have fun. I'm thebiggestwinner.org Health and Fitness Expo, August 23rd at the Riverside Epicenter next to Six Flags Over Georgia. Call 404-920-4845 or go to IamTheBiggestWinner.org for more information. Bigger, faster, stronger, healthier. Play, network, and enjoy. I'm thebiggestwinner.org. From 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. $20 for adults, $10 for kids, and fun for the whole family.
We're back, coming to you from the Ruth Hotlett Mosley Women's Center, talking to you about emergency management and E911 and all of the things in our community that help to keep us safe. And when we're threatened, we're talking about the entity in our community that can assist us in getting through it. And we're talking to Mr. Keith Moffett, you know, a long time employee of the city of Macon, has done a phenomenal job. He didn't talk about it because he lost, but that's okay. You know, it's kind of like playing the lottery. I'm talking about it's running for public office. It's kind of like trying to hit the lottery. If you don't play, you don't win.
Well,
you know?
I say God put me where He wanted me to be.
Yeah. So that's a real good thing. But I want you to spend just a little more time, you know, on the fire department. And let me tell you why. There are two factors that ought to be considered. First of all, you know, we ought to really, really appreciate and express our gratitude to the public servants. You know, the police and the fire department and the emergency workers and the volunteers and things of that nature. And like, you know, the armed forces, you know, sometimes, you know, it behooves us to tell the policeman or the fireman or them, hey man, we appreciate what you do, man or woman. You know, we appreciate you. Thanks for serving, because, you know, we've seen, and I was watching, you know, the dedication of that statue or the monument in New York. Right. You know, and then a lot of people gave their lives, you know, in responding. So I think we need to have a deeper and a better appreciation, you know, for public servants and the people. You know, I know we complain about taxes. Yeah. You know, but if something happens, if we have another flood, you know, I had to go and get water, you know, 3 miles away, or any kind of another hurricane, then I think it's comforting, you know, to know that we've got a situation, a department that's concerned about us.
And we live in a society where, you know, we want that protection. And, you know, it's a thankless job, and you know, the men and women in uniform with the sheriff and fire department, you know, they're out there every day. You know, one of the things that amazes me is, you know, we know we're not supposed to speed. And, you know, we get upset when the officer pulls us over and give us a ticket, but that's their job, because they'll tell you quick that, you know, they probably just left a traffic accident where an infant died, you know, because of careless driving. you know, and the judge, you know, first time I ever got a traffic ticket, you know, the judge told me there's no, you know, ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law.
Right.
And then when I hear people hurt in fires and everything, and I know how hard the fire department preaches fire prevention, you know, if you need a smoke detector, they will come out and install one free of charge for you. So it's little things like that they do every day to ensure that we live in a safe community. You know, the mayor has a mission statement of BEST. He wants Macon-Bibb County to be the best. You know, building our community, educating all our citizens, and safety in every neighborhood. And that's exactly where the sheriff office and the fire department and E911 and emergency management come to play, because we want a safe neighborhood. You know, we can't function living in fear. We can't function not being able to just come out on the street and talk to our neighbor. You know, we're all linked together, and safety is a big part of that. You know, the Emergency Management Center, headed by the director, Don Druitt, and he's always looking for volunteers to come down and be a part of it. They have the CERT team, and don't quote me on this, but I think it stands for Certified Emergency Response Team. But don't quote me on that. But you can always go to our website for more information on that. That's at Macon-Bibb.us. Go on the EMA, and you get all the type of information that you need there to find out how you can volunteer. My grandfather, who's 82 years old, is a CERT member, and he's very proud of it. He has a little backpack by the door and everything, and you know, I would hate to see an emergency where he's coming out helping, but he is dedicated and he's ready to come help. And you know, they don't need them just for emergencies. Like we have a big concert downtown. You know, the volunteers out there helping. Like I say, traffic is one of them everyday issues that we deal with. Because that's something that happens so common. And they're out there, Cherry Blossom. They're out there volunteering for that. Things they do out at Lake Tolosofsky. You know, so you have people out there volunteering every day trying to help keep this community safe. So those are things that really go on that we kind of overlook because we see them every day, but they are so important.
What about being proactive, and to the extent that if a citizen sees something, for example, if he or she smells gas or sees a fire, you know, brewing, I mean, I think oftentimes we overlook the fact that we all got a responsibility for safety and security. So what should one do if they see?
You know, you can't go wrong calling it in. You know, and truth be told, yeah, you may get labeled aggravated. You may get labeled nosy. You may get labeled something. But that one time that it's a real emergency, somebody could die. You know, I'm amazed. You know, I tell my wife all the time, you know, she's one of those people that if she see a car broke on the side of the road, she wants to stop. You know, and I understand that because that's our responsibility. But, you know, we live in a dangerous world now, so I tell her, you know, be very careful.
Right.
But you'd be surprised by the number of people that just call 911 and call that in, an abandoned car by the road. And it's been a lot of times that it's led to more of a story than that. There was a reason why the car was abandoned. Somebody was missing. We was able to locate them from that. Somebody was injured. We were able to locate them. I mean, we were able to help them from that. So yeah, it may take a few extra seconds in your day to call something in like that. But I really, you err on the side of doing what's right than ignoring it. You know, too many times we see somebody in need and we ignore it, and then we come back and regret it later. So I like I told you, people call 911 for everything, and we're gonna keep answering that phone. You know, I want you to call for the right reasons, but if you got a question and you in doubt, go ahead and call.
Well, we're gonna take a break because I hear a barking dog out there. I'm gonna get my phone. They call 911.
All it is.
This is a call to action.
Call to action.
We'll be right back. Or you could make that call to solve a crime. So there are a lot of circumstances under which one should just pick up the phone and call 911. And I'm sure that you're not suggesting, although you get some called frivolously.
Correct.
But you know, when in doubt, just call. I'm sure that's what you would say. As a matter of fact, somebody called that big fire in California. Somebody called it on a cell phone.
Correct.
And then if, in fact, I'm not sure whether they called, but you know, just a conscientious citizen recorded that, and maybe if they had called earlier, what have you,
Yeah.
then that could have saved billions of dollars
It could have.
in property damage. And, you know, the city and the county were recently consolidated.
Mhm.
And we have, this is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, interviewing Mr. Keith Moffett, who is the director of E911 and other emergency services as it relates to Macon-Bibb. You said, now what do we call it now? What's the name of this community now?
I'm pretty sure we're going with the city of Macon-Bibb.
Okay, the city
Yeah.
of Macon-Bibb, because as you know, we were consolidated. Well, how is that going? You know, I know that emergency management is an intricate part and an intricate department and an important department in the city of Macon, but there were several hurdles
Mhm.
that had to be jumped, and it seems that, well, you tell us about the transition and some of the things that have happened to kind of help the city to move forward and become one.
Well, it's been 5 months and 22 days now, and you know, one of the goals I believe was to have a transparent process, to have an open process, and with the key of the citizens not noticing a huge difference. You know, if you lived in the county, you still had the same level of services, if not better. If you lived in the city, you had the same level of services, if not better. But with that, there's been some restructuring in the government. Some departments have been shifted around. Some responsibilities have moved from department to department. Give an example, the Public Works Department that was in the city was divided into 3 separate entities because they had 3 separate functions. And you do that for a more better span of control and a more focalized purpose. Streets, the landfill, and sanitation or ground. So you know, they're trying to be more specific, driven with the services that we provide. And I think that is going well. You know, citizens still have an open door to come and be a part of the process and see what's going on. The next big hurdle now is the budget. You know, by the charter, the new consolidated government is required to reduce the budget 5% over the next 4 years. The combined city-county budgets
Per year?
per year, 5% each year.
Mhm.
So you know, that's a challenge in of itself. But you know, they're working on it. You know, not just government, but even private businesses, even the home now is you know, being asked to always do more with less. You know, we are recovering from, you know, some would say one of the worst economic crisis since, you know, the Great Depression. You know, I like to say my PhD was in education, so not economics. So, you know, I find it hard to believe.
Congratulations, incidentally.
Well, thank
Let
you.
me pause a minute and congratulate you
Yeah.
and your darling wife for achieving,
Mhm.
you know, a PhD.
Yeah.
You know, which is a very prestigious degree, and I want to congratulate you and Miss Melinda
Well, thank you
for
so
having
much.
that accomplishment.
Well,
And Michelle, I knew the
Yeah,
other day,
Michelle
Miss
Curry.
Curry, you know, she also is at Mercer.
Yeah, she's
She's a PhD, and
in
I
our
think
class.
that bespeaks of the importance of education.
Well, we're
Go
just
ahead.
trying to live up to what y'all taught us to do.
Well, then you're doing a good job.
All right. But going back to this government, you know, one of the things that the government, you know, finances, revenues come in, are property taxes and sales taxes. And, you know, I find it, you know, funny to talk about we're in a recession when you go in places like Best Buy and people still buying luxury items, but, you know, the money's coming in and we're trying to be good stewards of the people's money. And so with that, I think the consolidation is going well. But, you know, only time will tell. You know, you still have pros and cons, but, you know, we have people that were elected in office that I believe are dedicated to the goal of doing what's right and making this a better community.
Now, what would be the process if, in fact, there's a citizen out there? I understand that we've got a new website built by my producer's son, Trace and Andrea Crum. You know, Justin built the website. But now, what kind of resources or what kind of approach should a citizen take if, in fact, he or she needed some information about any of the function or the operation of the government?
Well, as I say, as you said earlier, education is the key. You can go onto the website and learn about all the different city departments. If you have an issue, there is a contact button on there, and that goes to the public information officer, and then he sends it to the department that can best address that issue. But we have other, resources. You can call the customer service number, or you can, everyone has these smartphones these days, and we have the See Click Fix application where, you see a problem in the community, take a picture of it, input it into the system, and it gives you a running accountability of when it's going to be fixed. Everything from potholes to signage to
See Click Fix.
See Click Fix. That's an application you can download right on your iPhone, and that's your way of helping us clean up the community and get things done. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We talk about safety. We just want a beautiful community. We want people visiting here to feel like they came to one of the most prettiest places on earth. And that's things that we do in it. But going back to your original question, if you have a problem or an issue or just want to get some information, you can go onto that website and start there, and just I encourage you to visit it. And just look around, see what the various departments are, see how we restructure the various departments, see what their mission is, their focus. You talked about volunteering. Call that department and see what you can do to help. You all play a part. Everything from picking up litter to, neighborhood watches and things like that. Oh, that's a big one right there. That's a big one. So we can really use people's input to get those things done.
Okay, now take about 30 seconds to project what you think the future of this community is.
I think it's very bright. One of the things I learned coming into office is that Macon has a unique mix of people here that we either want to be Little Atlanta or we want to be Mayberry. We love the quality of life.
There's no in between.
There's no in between. We love the quality of life that we have here, but we want the big city feel.
Right.
And now that we're the 4th largest community in the state, we have that opportunity to be that. The mayor has that vision of being the hub of Middle Georgia. People in Macon go to Atlanta for stuff, but we want all the surrounding communities to come to Macon.
Right.
And we got the ability to do that. We're working on connecting the transit systems and things like that.
Right.
So I think that we are the capital of Middle Georgia. And I think with that the future is bright.
This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm so appreciative and thankful to Mr. Keith Moffett, for sharing with us today. You've done a phenomenal job, and we really appreciate the information. And I think we achieved the purpose of providing vital and important information to the citizens of this community. On behalf of Tracy and Andrea Crum, my producers, and the Ruth Hotley Mosley Women's Center, the facility from which we record this show. I want to thank everybody for listening, and don't hesitate, 478-464-0074. If you got comments or observations, criticisms, or good jokes, give us a call and we will respond appropriately. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Havisham. Have a great day.
www.makingblackpages.com